we do anything from homes, helicopters, yachts, you name it, we've probably done it.
From being a customer to becoming a co-owner and subsequently taking over the whole business, interior designer and entrepreneur Jody Atkins shares her insight into managing stakeholder relationships, customers, suppliers, contractors and employees to drive the success of her business internationally. Putting the floor into flawless, Jody's business, Capital Carpets of Chelsea, is one of the only flooring companies that manufactures, supplies and installs their own exclusive range of carpets and rugs. From hotels and stately homes to commercial properties, yachts and events, Capital Carpets of Chelsea is home to the finest quality carpets, personal service, unrivaled craftsmanship and often long-forgotten specialist knowledge. Hi everybody, today I am talking with Jody Atkins. Jody and I met about 10 years ago and she just happens to be in Abu Dhabi, so we are reconnecting and I thought it would be a great opportunity to introduce her and have a catch up and let you know all about the importance of relationships when doing international business. So hi Jody.
Hi Jenny, it's good to catch up with you again after so long.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for agreeing to be interviewed.
Not a problem.
You are obviously going to be able to tell everybody in much better description than I can who you are and what you do. So who is Jody Atkins?
I'm Jody. I own a high-end carpet and flooring business in Notting Hill in London, and we work with some of the more high net worth individuals both in London, around the UK, so with their London houses, their country houses, their properties abroad, and conversely we also work with people who are not from the UK, whose homes are in London, who we may have come across, they'll have been referred into us through other people, they'll have been at somebody's house, they'll have seen something that we've done. We do anything from homes, helicopters, yachts, you name it, we've probably done it at some point. At one stage we were even asked if we could do a rug and use, somebody had got some items of clothing from David Beckham and they wanted to make a board around the rug using that.
Oh,
so
wow.
We get all sorts of strange requests and nothing. We try to make a habit of saying never say never. There's always a way to do things. There's always something we can find to do it. We can work, if people are working, needing to work fairly quickly, they've got short time scales, we can work with existing products and we can look to customise them, say large rugs, we can put Napa leather on the edge, we can get that embossed with logos, we can, if you can think it, we can probably find a way to do it. So that's really what we do.
And this is what I really love, is it's the real ethos, I think, of being a business owner, is you've got to care for your clients and it's all about finding solutions.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, as long as the client, within reason, can get what they need and we can leave the client happy, we've got good supplier relationships, good working relationships with our staff, with our subcontractors, and most importantly with our customers, ultimately they will then refer us, and the word of mouth marketing for a business such as ours is absolutely key.
Yeah, I can imagine it's the best source really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we couldn't. We're spectacularly lucky that we get to work with some incredibly interesting people. A lot of whom I can't talk about, but I think that's why we get some of the clients that we do, be they members of royal families, be they from wherever, be they ultra high net worth individuals, be they celebrities, actors, hotels, corporate offices. the reason people come back to us, I think, is because they know that they can be assured of discretion if they need it, whether it, whoever they are really. It doesn't matter whether you're coming in for a doormat for your house around the corner from the showroom, or you're wanting a house in the Middle East done, or you're wanting 17 rugs sent to a hotel for the luxury suites. Whatever it is, you can be assured of discretion and the same level of service.
And from sort of our catch up a couple of days ago, one of the things that really came across to me was that discretion, and how your clients really can get a sense of trust with you, because you're not in a position to be able to disclose names all of the time. So is that difficult from a marketing perspective, or is it a case of, because you are so well connected, and because of, you've mentioned already your Middle Eastern clients, because they are known for, once they've had a very good service, they then tell all of their friends. Do you find that's what happens within your industry?
I think what I found, what's really interesting is, I think that happens regardless of your nationality or your location. We all tell our friends, or tell the people that we work with, or the people we respect, or the people that we socialise with. We've had some amazing business that's come. The British aristocracy will, they'll socialise, they'll be at somebody's house, they'll say, oh, that's fabulous, where did you get that done? They'll say something and somebody else in the party go, I use them too. You're right, it is a challenge from the marketing perspective, but you find a way to, when you know who these other people know, you can be discreet. If you know that it's somebody that they socialise with on a regular basis, you can say, if you want to go and talk to somebody, go and talk to so-and-so, because you know that they're in their circle. We've had some interesting, with some of our Middle Eastern clients, we had an interesting scenario a few years back where we were asked by an interior designer, because a lot of our business will come through architects, designers, as well as from the individuals directly. We were asked if we could make some rugs to cover a wing of a private hospital, maternity hospital, for a client from the Middle East who was coming in to have their children.
I think that's just amazing.
It was probably one of the most interesting challenges we'd had for a long time, because of there's all the things that you don't think about. It's not just our usual relationships with our usual suppliers. It was actually sitting down and having meetings with all the medical staff and looking at what we had to do, like the emergency doors and the clearances on those, and how we had to work around, because these were only going to be there temporarily, but it turned out that the temporarily needed to be a bit longer, and it was brought forward a lot sooner, which presented us with another set of challenges, because these were being custom made with logos involved in them, and all of a sudden we found out we didn't have the time to do that. So we were left with this challenge of, we've promised to deliver this, and how are we going to make that happen? And it means quite often a lot of thinking on your feet. And I spoke to my business partner the next morning and I said, do you think we could take a standard carpet rather than a custom made one? Get some really good graffiti artists, get some huge templates made, and use fabric paints to get these logos on, so that we can get them there, because we've now got a week. We haven't got the 8 weeks we thought we'd got. We've got a week. And the long and the short of it was, we ended up getting some of the sewers to come down to hand stitch the leather on, instead of them going up to the machine rooms to be done. We had the graffiti artists on our cutting floor with endless templates. We had things cut overnight, and as far as the client was concerned, everything just worked and it just happened. They didn't have to know. It's that same scenario of the client needs to see the swan sitting on the pond, they don't need to see all of this that's going on underneath. And that's what we try and do, is leave the clients feeling as satisfied as they can and not being aware of, those issues. The client was so happy, they told somebody else, and as a result of one of those connections, we ended up doing a royal box, or the suite of rooms at a sports stadium that was being built in Jeddah. And then some other work came out of those, and these weren't even people from the same country who had connected, but they were in the same circle. They were in this, and they spoke to each other. So we have to, in this day and age of social media being the be all and end all of marketing, it's a challenge. Like you said, when you can't talk about who the clients are, you have to let the service speak for itself. And you have to find a way of just making sure that that level of service, of discretion, of trust, of rapport building and teamwork, be they the house manager for the member of the client that you're working with, or the contracts manager with one of our suppliers, or you've just got to pull everybody together, and you're quite regularly working with lots of different teams and just trying to make all the styles work. So it's juggling. I just call it, it's like, it's a circus.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. There is a lot more to it than just discretion. It's obviously delivering a really, really good service as well. But I think one of the interesting comments that you've just made there is that it is about relationships over like your social media accounts. And so it's all very well having a target following on one social media platform, but as things change, it doesn't mean that those followers are necessarily going to come with you, whereas your in-person relationships, once you've got them and you develop them and you maintain them, they're going to be there for life. And then obviously let their friends know as well.
Yeah, and I think it's a very interesting point that you've raised. I mean, I'm not particularly good with all the Facebook, the Twitter, all of that, but you do have to have the face-to-face relationships. But I think one of the really interesting things for a business like mine, and trying to work out, because I'm sure there's people who are saying, well, how's my business relevant to their business in Abu Dhabi? I see very much my international clients is, I try and liken it now to where people are remote working. There's this great big concern about how do you make business work across borders. Well, a border can be a town border, a county border.
It's whatever you make it.
An international border, it can be a social media versus face-to-face. That's another border. They're all just working across borders, and you just have to, all of it's remote working, all of it's, and if you've got the relationships, you just have to use all the tools in your box and make it work, really. So social media is one of those tools, but word of mouth is not dead. It's not ever going to die.
Yeah, very, very important, I think. Now, we've touched on the important relationship that you have with your clients and how you're looking after them. But actually, part of your whole chain of delivering your service, you're working with lots of different suppliers, and they're not necessarily in the UK, they might be in Asia, they're all over the world. So what do you do to manage those relationships to make sure that you've got the quality, to make sure that they're delivering on time, that ultimately they are looking after you so that your client is looked after?
I think it's about treating your suppliers with respect and trust. It's treat the suppliers the same way as you treat the customers. Some of our clients can be, not only are they discerning, but they can be quite demanding. And that sometimes means that the timescales are particularly quick. You've got to try and find a way around it. I had a newspaper office that we were working with recently that we had to turn something round in about 4 days, which is almost unheard of. And it's just all hands on deck, pull everybody together. But you can only do that if you think about what's important to them. If you're asking a lot of somebody, you've got to sometimes give a lot. A couple of examples I could give you. We take all of our subcontractors and our staff away every 3-4 years. We'll just go away for 4 days. We'll take them abroad and just switch off.
I think this is lovely.
Yeah, it's a costly exercise when you look at the pounds, shillings and pence or the dirhams or whatever, but it's one of those things that it's actually priceless. It's the unexpected that you just take them away and you're in a relaxing environment and you have conversations about work when you're out of the day-to-day grind.
The pressure's not there.
The pressure's not there. The ideas are generated. I mean, the ideas that I've had while I've been here, not least from having conversations with people like yourself while I've been out here, some of the meetings I've had while I've been here, and some of it when I've been sat by the pool. You get these ideas that you can grow of how to grow your business. So taking people out of the day-to-day, I can't stress the importance of it. And yes, it may have a cost to it, but what's the benefit that comes with it? So that's one thing that I think is really important.
And I think with that concept of actually taking people away, it's like a mini holiday for them as well. So yes, they are going away for a business purpose, but it's actually a holiday for them. And a lot of people, that's a big thing, is their annual holiday.
Change is as good as the rest.
Absolutely, but I think also not being in that usual pressured environment that encourages the creativity, you're actually developing your relationships with them as well, because you're getting to know a different side of them. And I think that's what people also forget quite often as well. We look at the people that we work with from a business perspective, and it's quite easy to forget that actually everybody else has a life outside of work as well.
They've got a family, and their families are impacted by some of the things we ask them to do. The other thing that I think is really important is don't expect them to do something you're not prepared to do yourself. Roll your sleeves up.
I'm the same.
Show them that you're just as happy. There was this particular job in this newspaper office. I had to literally roll my sleeves up, and we couldn't dry something overnight because the site wasn't as ready as it should have been. So I was stood there with 3 hairdryers walking along with it, trying to get all of this for 4 hours, just wandering down on my weekend to try and help them, because they were helping me and helping the client. And the client's given us more work as a result of that, because they've been so happy that we managed to pull this out of the bag. There are times you have to say no, but the client knows when you've got that good relationship, if you've had to say no, you really do mean no, because they know that I will move heaven and earth if I can do it. But what I'm not going to do is say yes and deliver something that's of substandard quality, because where word of mouth marketing is so important, if I deliver and it's subpar, more people will talk about the things that went wrong than that have gone right. And I can't afford that, and I won't have it, because it's not fair to anybody. I think the other thing when we're talking about how you manage those relationships is the suppliers. If I'm expecting the suppliers to pull things out of the bag, I have to look at what do the suppliers need. What can I do to make the supplier's life easier if they're going to make my life easier? One of the things we did during COVID, for example, when there was no manufacturing, there was, everybody was wondering initially, what are we going to do? How long are we going to be without this? Nobody knew, you're worrying about your staff, your subcontractors. How was everybody going to get paid if we can't deliver a product? And we started going to our customers and saying, look, we can see that when manufacturing opens up again, there's going to be a bottleneck, but one way or another, nothing was where it needed to be. You know, it's like when flights are delayed and things are all in the wrong place, only on a much bigger scale. So we were speaking to our customers and our suppliers, and they were saying, well, how quickly can you get this done? You know, we need it done. And, you know, we were all in uncharted territory. But I said, well, let me talk to the suppliers and see, you know, are you prepared to pay up front to try and get to the front of the queue? And it worked really well that we spoke to the suppliers who were struggling for cash flow. How were they going to pay their staff? What were they going to do? You know, the machines were all on stop. And we would get the money in from the clients, we'd get it straight to the suppliers, and because we'd got that level of trust, they knew their money was safe, and some of these were quite significant sums of money. We were paying the suppliers and getting a discount because they had cash. We were passing the discount on to the customer, so it was a win-win for both of them. We had cash flow so we could look after our team. We had the same problems as everybody else, but when they then let the transport start working, any stock that was already made came straight to us. Or if it was stuff that needed to be made straight away, and they got the raw materials to make it, we'd already paid. We were ahead of the curve, which meant in the 6 to 8 months after everything had supposedly gone back to normal and ships were all in the wrong place and we couldn't get supplies from here, there and everywhere, we had to take the hit and fly things in to get them in quickly, but we had a lot of stuff that came to us a lot quicker, which meant I could then have the work for my fitters, for my subcontractors, and keep them busy when everybody else was running out. And by having an ongoing relationship, even before COVID, where I've always looked to pay my fitters, pay my suppliers on time or ahead of time, when supplies were running low, they were telling me what was happening and saying, I just thought you might like to know that there's now a shortage of nails. We're running out of gripper. So you'd buy 200 boxes instead of the usual 30 or 40 perhaps, or, you know, you were just trying to buy stuff and stockpile things. And then you were helping the warehouses that were sat empty, the logistics companies, you were bringing in stuff earlier and just storing it wherever you could to make things happen. And again, it's that same thing. The swan sits on the lake and everything was running along under here. It was stressful, but teamwork made it, you know, we just got there one way or another.
One of the things that really comes across so strongly with that story, I absolutely love that story, because on the surface you're just like, genius, but actually that is how business should work, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In the
treat everybody how you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise you have so much stress. And there are times you may have a cash flow blip. We all do. Every business at some point or another has a cash flow blip. If you can hold your hands up and tell your suppliers, this is what's happening, can I do A, B, C and D? Can we ring fence this, and can we pay this in a number of tranches? Because they've got a good relationship with you, and because you've been honest and you deal with your problems and be honest about your problems, you're not hiding from them, they trust you.
And it makes sense, really, doesn't it? You're not trying to do something behind their back. You're not trying to be deceitful in any way. You're actually looking after each other to make sure you both stay in business.
But it sometimes can be counterintuitive to people who are starting up businesses, especially if you're starting up, you know, like a lot of your clients would be, you know, you're coming to a new country and you're trying to set this up. It may be counterintuitive to your marketing that you don't want people to know that there's struggles, but actually if people know that you're real, you know, you face the same things that they do, and it doesn't matter whether you're dealing with Mrs. Bloggs round the corner who wants a doormat, or you're dealing with the king of whoever over here, everybody has the same problems. A lot of the same problems.
Yeah.
And if you treat everybody the same, and treat all of them respectfully.
I think that's the key thing, respectfully.
Yeah. Not going to say it's easy, because it's, not everybody has the same business ethos that you do, but you can only try, and if that fails, you look for other suppliers, and nothing's perfect, and the world has been harder for everybody, I think, trying to get back to what is the new reality. But I think doing business across borders, be they international, be they with expats, be it with from me working from London, trying to deal with clients who are based in the Middle East or in the Far East or wherever, you just have to keep the communication flowing. You just tell them what's happening and acknowledge everything. I was talking to a guest in the hotel here yesterday who, as a result of the conversation we've had, I've got some work for somebody else in my supply chain, that it's just, you just look out for things for other people, and then they'll look out for things for you as well.
100%.
It sort of seems like it's not rocket science, but it's amazing when that's forced. I think sometimes some of the networking organisations can try and force that you have to do X number of this and refer. It doesn't work. It stops people realising the value of it. When you can actually sit down with somebody and go, how can I help you? What can I do? What can I look for? And it's in the back of your mind, so that when you meet other people, you go, well, actually, I can't do that, but I think I know somebody who can.
Hello, and my apologies for that abrupt end to the conversation I was having with Jody. Unfortunately, the last couple of minutes of our chat didn't record, but I can share with you that we were just talking about when you have relationships with other business owners and you get to know them, you get to know their business, you get to know their values and their way of doing business. It puts you in a position that you are able to keep your ear to the ground when there's opportunities that might not be for you but might be suitable for them. You're then able to recommend them or connect them appropriately, and you're confident to be able to do so. And that's one of the reasons that Jody and I have stayed in touch ever since we first met 10 years ago, is because our approach to doing business is very much the same, in that we try to deliver the best possible service for our clients. When things go wrong, as they naturally do from time to time, we try to keep that away from the client so the client has a seamless experience. And we also try to ensure that we deliver above and beyond our client's expectations. Our client is the focus of what we do, but then we're also supporting our staff and making sure that they're looked after, and our suppliers as well. Unleash your creativity and revolutionize your space with exquisite rugs and carpets, transforming your floors into mesmerizing works of art. Whether you have an ingenious concept waiting to be brought to life or need a stunning, durable solution tailored to your space's demands, Jody and her team are here to make it happen. Experience the magic firsthand at their enchanting showroom in Notting Hill, London, or connect with Jody directly through her website, carpetsofchelsea.com. Embark on a journey of artistic excellence and create something truly remarkable together.